So one thing that I've been doing this semester was, do you remember in a previous podcast I talked about playing for a TF2 team? Once?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So this past semester, and like start of winter break, I was looking to get back into it and just like play another season. So that's what I've been doing from like a few weeknights every week for the past few weeks. But I don't know what I was expecting, but whenever I think what I'm trying to say is there's been so much random bullshit and drama happening revolving around this TF2 team and shit that it's actually blown my mind about like how ridiculous playing competitive TF2 is, because like the amount of shit that's happened to our team is, and the people that I've like dealt with and like interacted with, it's a little crazy. So to set the scene, basically I'm playing TF2, and in North America there's like this specific league, and this league has like divisions, right? And I'm playing in like the lowest division. It's called newcomer. So going into the season, before the season started, I was like looking for a team, right? And usually you do this either through the forums that the league has, like a website, or you do it through their Discord server. So I was going through their Discord server. I was just like trying to find a team, right? And they have like channels for looking for players and looking for teams, and you can like post in it and people like reach out to you, or you can reach out to people looking for players. And that's what I did. So I reached out to these people and I tried out for a couple of teams, and then I got on this team. So basically at the start of the season, it was me and so far 4 other people on the team, right? So we were looking for our final last player to complete the team. So one of the things that you need to know about the TF2 community is that I guess parts of it skew young, in the sense that like high schoolers play, and like I mean there's like no, I don't want to say really famous, because famous within the TF2 community, he's like a middle schooler or whatever, and he's like really loud and obnoxious, and he has like a Twitch, like an online personality, and it's like loud and it's like, oh my god, blah 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 blah, and yelling a lot. But yeah, he's like a middle schooler, so like there's young people playing, right? And I remember the first time I played it, like a year or two ago, like on my team I was the oldest one. Wow. Which is kind of sad. Like I was the oldest one with one other person. Like we were both sophomores going into juniors at the time, I think, and everybody else was like freshmen, and then we had like 1 or 2 high schoolers or something. Wow. Right? So this time on this team at the start, we had one person who was like, I think same age as me, and then the other 3 people, I think we're all high schoolers at first. So
they changed.
So things, well, what I mean is like the team, it was like a revolving door. People were in and out all the time over the season, which I'll get to. But basically, the whole setup that I was saying about young people is that because they're young, they're kind of immature and irresponsible. Well, it's like either or both. So like one of our players just didn't know anything about showing up on time, which it doesn't even apply to just high schoolers. But like, I mean, there's this term, it's called baiting. It's like, right? You say you're gonna show up to something and then you don't, and he just did that all the time. And even when he would do it, he like also wouldn't give forewarning. Like, and so that was the reason we basically dropped him later on. It was because he just kept doing this, and like there was some really stupid reasons. Like one of them was just like Oh, I can't play because I'm watching a movie with my dad or something.
Oh my
Which,
God.
you know, honestly isn't the worst reason, but it's like, come on, bro. You made a commitment. It's like afterwards, it's like, I guess it's nice that you're watching something with your dad, but it just kept happening, and it's like,
You know, I remember when I was a youngin, it would always be odd because my family would be like, "Hey, come watch a movie," and then I can't be like, it feels awkward to say like I'm playing a video game with my friends. I can't. There was like something like, it was like a mental block. I just, cause that was not a valid excuse to not, you know, spend time with my
Interesting.
family.
I think I didn't have that because I think there were times when my parents or whatever like were watching movies and I just like was upstairs playing games and like decided not to go because I wanted to like just play games instead. So I guess, you know, it's maybe up to the person, and that's just like how they are, which, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is a bad thing in the context of we're a team and we're trying to like practice and have like schedules, and he's just not showing up all the time, so we decided to kick him, right? So, but before we kicked him, so we were basically 5 people, right? So it's a 6-player team. We're looking for this last player. So we pick up this dude, okay? And this guy is, I'd seen him around before in like other servers, other Discord servers, because there's like other Discord servers that are focused more on playing pickup games and stuff outside of the league. So I'd seen him around there before. So we picked him up and we played with him. And at first he was like pretty chill, right? Like me and another player, we'd like after the scrims, we'd often like just stay in the channel and just like talk with him. And we did that like once, 2, 3 times, and it was like chill and pretty fun. And then there was this one time where we did that, and then afterwards he's like, okay, I gotta go talk with some of my other friends. It's like, do you guys want to come to like the Discord server? So we went there, and then these other friends, like one of them was just kind of weird, which isn't like anything wrong with it. He's just a little weird. The other one was like a big troll, but also kind of racist, and just they were like, and then they were, what he was joining his friend on doing was like harassing and just like chasing this guy across TF2 servers. Like they'd like, I don't know, they were like trolling him in one server, and he'd leave and go to another server and they'd follow him, and I'm like, sure, that's trolling, but it's kind of going into harassment when you're like fucking like just following him around. It's like he obviously doesn't want that. And yeah, it didn't help that his friend was kind of racist. And it's just like, because there is I think one thing also that it has to be said about the TF2 community is that there is a non-insignificant portion that are racist. There's a lot of racist people. I guess that just comes from like small gaming communities.
That reminds me of like the EU4 Discord server that I used to be on. Everybody was racist on that server.
There are a lot of racists, and it's very interesting. I mean, there's quite a few transphobes too, but it's really interesting because TF2 has like a huge concentration, I feel like, a disproportionate higher amount of like trans people than like a general population. Like there's a lot, I like met a lot of trans people. Like one of the players on our team in that original group of 4 or 5, including me, was trans. So, and I've like never really talked to a trans person in like real life, right? So, but there's like a whole lot in the TF2 community, which is, I guess, pretty cool. But also there's a lot of transphobes. So there's a lot of transphobes, a lot of racists. So basically this guy was, his friend was racist, and I'm like, okay. I'm a little hesitant now because he's like associating with this like racist guy, right? And then basically we have our team of 6 and we're like practicing and stuff. And then at some point he basically like 1 or 2 of our other, so we drop that guy who's always baiting, who's also skipping. So we bring in a new guy, all right? Now this new guy and one of our original other players, they don't really like how the troller guy, how he sometimes is like really, he kind of plays troll also during our scrims sometimes, and like his sometimes he posts like in the Discord channels and like of troll stuff, and it's like I'm only doing it because I'm trolling, but it's like
What kind of stuff did he post?
I don't know. It was like talking about things that he did, like chasing people, like doing that thing of I guess harassing people across like different TF2 servers. Also, he's been banned a few times on like the pickup game servers for I don't know whatever. I think something with like trolling or toxicity. And
of course.
So like the two, one of the original teammates and that new person we brought in, they were like, bro, that's not cool or whatever. So basically then they got into a fight or like beef. So then one of our players, one of our high school players, he was just, didn't really like that guy at all. So he just like left the server and like left the team for like a day. He was just like, fuck this guy, I don't want to play with him. So he just left, and he eventually came back, but this will be a reoccurring thing. So maybe I should label out the people. We've got player A, he's the one who was always baiting. We dropped him.
Call him baiter.
Okay, player B, that's player B.
Okay.
Player T is the troller guy.
Okay, the troller.
Right?
We have the troller, the baiter.
And then we'll call this guy player R for rage quitter.
Okay.
Okay, so rage quitter. So player R is beefing with player T, and then the new player we have, I'll call him player A. Like, so player A, who was brought in to replace player B, the baiter. Player A, he's called player A because he's annoying. Okay. We'll call him player A, he's annoying. So player A and R are beefing with T, right? And then player R just like fucking rage quit for like a day. Left the team, left the server. We didn't play scrims that day because it's like, bro, what's up? Okay, so eventually came back and they just kind of swept it under the rug, but it wasn't really resolved. Either way, then, so at this point, I know player T, he's like a troller and he associates with some weird people, but I thought him himself, he's still okay mentally, right? Well, no, this guy is actually just straight a little wacko. So basically, this is all before the season. The season hasn't even started. We're like making our team, we're doing the preseason scrims, like getting to know each other and playing together as a team. We come to our week 1 match, right? And player T decides to go to New Orleans, I think, or something. Like that's not necessarily, I don't think that's a bad thing or whatever. He probably just had that trip anyway. The main thing is we needed to find a substitute player for our week 1 match, right? So we played our week 1 match with a substitute, and then player T like didn't play with us, right? So in between our week 1 and our next week's match, week 2 match, player T told our team leader that he was quitting the team. And the reason he gave the team leader was because God told me to.
What the heck?
He said because God told him to. So he quit the team. And I guess I haven't said this about player T yet, but like even before he quit the team, he at some point he had made this community server. He'd like rented or like created this server, and he called it TF2 24/7 Badwater Christians only server. Or I don't think Christians only, but it was like Christian server. So there were already signs that this guy was on one.
Okay.
Yeah, so he quit the team because God told him to. So basically, between week 1 and week 2, right, we lost a player already. So we've already kicked player B for baiting. And now we've kicked, or not kicked, he just left, player T. So now we need a new player for him. So come week 2, we're like trying to fill this gap, trying to find a player. We can't find a player yet by the week 2 match, so we have the same substitute player that we had play for us play in week 1. So we've already gone 2 weeks into the season without a full team. First time without playing with our full team. First one, the dude was in New Orleans. Second one, we don't even have a dude, so we're just playing like without an actual person.
Why not just use the substitute?
Yeah, we do. We play with the substitute,
okay.
But he's like not actually on our team.
Oh yeah, add him. Why not?
We can't because he's already playing on another team on a higher division. He's in the amateur division. We're a newcomer. So he's already on a team. He can't be on our team. We would have loved to have him on our team because he was really sane and he was a good player also. But we didn't. So we've gone 2 weeks without like having a full team. Then we go into week 3. So we're still finding a player. We finally find a player. Okay, let's call this player player C for cocky. Okay, so player C, he's coming to replace player T. He's kind of cocky, but it's justified cockiness because he's really good. He was really good in our scrims. So then we play a week 3 with him, and he like completely carries us kind of. He was like the best player. And basically when we played with him, he still hadn't officially joined the team yet because to join the team, they have admins in each division to like try and make sure everything's equal, like skill wise, right? So it's not super unbalanced. So we had to like request. He had to request to join our team, right? So the time when we played the match, he hadn't actually been approved to join the team yet. So he was also a substitute. So we played with him. Then he got denied in joining the team because they said he was too good.
Okay.
But they said he was too good in terms of like his previous experience and stuff. And then so this is part of how this whole season of fuckery, like the admins were also so inconsistent in like they denied this player and like gave reasons like this reason of he's too good, right? And then later on in the season we played like a team who had people that played at a higher level than him for longer and they were still allowed to join teams. And it's like inconsistency here, and it really pissed like some people off, right? So player C, he was cocky. He also kind of beefed with player A, who was annoying. I guess I should say player A, like he didn't do anything bad or like irresponsible or anything. He was just kind of, the way he talked was kind of annoying and like his mannerisms were kind of annoying, but that's it. Which in the grand scheme of things is better than what these fucking other players were, right? Okay, so we have player C, played with him week 3, but we couldn't use him, right? We played with him week 3, but he couldn't join the team. So then we're back to square one. We're looking for another player again. Now player T returns for a short night.
Second coming.
Because we still needed a player for a scrim. And I think this is one of the days when I wasn't there, so they had like more substitute players. But basically they had him come back as a sub, right? Just for the scrim. And apparently he spent the whole time just trolling and like throwing the scrim and making it an awful time, right? So like our team leader, I think, banned him from the server, like kicked him from the Discord server and stuff because he was just being a dickhead. And I'll fast forward a little bit to where player T makes his final appearance. Basically, he said he quit the team because God told him to. We kind of suspected because it was like he didn't think our team was good enough. Like he basically at some point had said, like, I want to win, like first place. Otherwise, this whole season's kind of a waste. And I guess he assessed that our team wasn't good enough to win the whole thing, so he probably left. Because later on in the season, he was like posting in those channels that I talked about, like the looking for player, looking for team, and he was looking for teams. But on like he was even looking for teams in amateur, which was like the division higher than ours. So
was he good?
He was like, he wasn't as good as C, cocky. He was like good, but he wasn't amazing. He wasn't like even the best player on our team, I don't think. Best player on our team was R, the rage quitter, the guy who rage quits. Okay, so sometime along, I should say, okay, there's player T for troller. There's also player, I'll say TR for trans, just because they're the trans person, right? And that's not gonna come up. I just needed, okay, you know what? We'll just say player X instead, just because.
Okay.
Another player. Player X. Only reason I'm mentioning that, like, they were fine, like, mentality-wise. They just kind of sucked at the game. So we kicked them off the team because, like, they were just not good. So we kicked them. So basically, we've already kicked player B. Player T's left. Player C's come in and left and not been able to join the team. We've kicked player X because they're not good enough. So now we're looking for a new player. And finally, we bring in this player who was actually, so we kicked player X before I think everything happened with everything happened with player T. So the rewind is like before match 1 or whatever.
Okay, we need like a timeline. Can you put a schematic?
The main thing is just we brought in this guy who like stayed with us the rest of the season. Okay, so and then we finally found a player to replace player T and C in the same role. So finally we have our 6-player team, right? So we finally have a team that we can work together and like practice with. And we've played the first 3 matches without a full team. So finally week 4 we played our first match where we actually had a full team. So these first 3 matches we've been doing well. We won the first 4. We come to our week 5 match, and this is the way how they schedule each match is basically you play against a team that's like the same record as you. So we're 4-0, they're like 4-0, so we're gonna play against them. So this team is where that admin fuckery comes up because there's like 2 players on there that have a bunch of fucking experience, previous experience, and they were still allowed to play despite like our player C being denied, right? And then we also found like, so we played them, basically we lost that one, but it was really close. It was 4-3. And during the game, this is where player R and his rage quitting and his tilting started to come into effect because I don't know, he's the kind of player where it's like when something goes wrong, he's like, oh, why are we doing this and blah 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 blah, and he's like, I guess good in not directly blaming people, but he really brings down the mood and like he's always like, oh, what are we doing? It's like, why are we doing this? We are not playing well, and it's like not good for the morale, right, when you're in the middle of the game. And he's really whiny in that regard. So basically after the match finish, he just like left the call immediately and was just like fucking rage quit, right? But everyone was like a little sus about the other team because of those other 2 players that had a lot of experience. So some players, I think one of our other players, the team leader or whatever, he did some digging and he found that on the other team, they were literally breaking the rules in the sense that alt accounts are banned. So alt accounts are like, you have your main account that you play, and then you shouldn't have other accounts that are also in the league. And he did like 2 minutes of sleuthing and he found an alt account associated with this guy. And he like submitted all this stuff to the admins. I don't think they ever did anything. So it's like this vendetta. So the beef between the players on our team and the admins just grows stronger because after they denied us the C and they don't do anything about these players with experience, then they like seemingly just like ignore a lot of our complaints and like things that we submit, right? Okay, so let's fast forward. Basically the gist is player R, this is the first time we see that he's a rager and he'll like quit and stuff, right? We go into our next match. So our next match, we're now 4-1. We play against this team, and this team is kind of, I guess, there's personal history between players on this team that we're playing and player R and like another one of our players, right? So he really wants to beat them, and we kind of really want to beat them too. Like I don't have any personal history with them, but player R and like our team leader, they kind of really don't like him because I think the other team's leader was like really racist also. But we basically had him on a no scrim list, which means like we never had played them before because like they were toxic or whatever. And I guess a side story about that team, there's like specific roles in each team, right? One of them is medic, and I think by the time we got to that match, they cut like 7 medics already. Like 7 people had gotten in and out as the medic role. So they like cut 7 people. So we were gonna play this game. Short story is we got smashed 0-5.
Oh my god.
And we got smashed 0-3 at halftime. Then player R, he was like, I think it's because my internet, because he was getting like kind of bad ping and some lag. So we had like a 40-minute halftime where he like reset his router, reset all his internet shit.
Came back and then lost.
Came back and then we lost 2-0. So he was kind of not happy about it. He kind of rage quit again. And our whole team spirits were kind of really in the dumps now because it was not that, like the first round was pretty close. It like lasted 10 minutes, which is a long round. Then all the rest were kind of rolls. Like we just got completely stomped. So it was not a close game at all and we got destroyed. Okay? So team morale kind of fucked now, right? So basically now this is where it gets ridiculous. So team morale is in the dumps. Now we're going into week 7. This is a spring break now. So basically I said I can't play for like around a week because I'm going to go on vacation and blah, 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 blah. So, and they were like, okay, sounds good. So they're probably going to be playing week 7 with a substitute for me. Before that happened, so after our week 6 complete failure 0-5 and our week 7 match, our team leader, who I have not talked about like at all, right, so far, now he's going to come in. What he decides to do is just completely ghost the team. He's just completely gone. So this guy, and up to now, almost like a month since spring break, right, he has just not said a single word in the server. He's just disappeared. So he never said anything. But between that time from week 6 to week 7, we just could not reach him. So he just stopped showing up to everything. He never responded to any DMs. And we were like kind of concerned, right? Like something happened to him, but he's still sometimes like online. One of our teammates said he saw him like on Spotify, like on the Discord, you can see like the Spotify, and he's like adding songs and stuff. So I think he's still alive. But basically this guy just completely ghosted us for no reason because we still don't know why. If something actually happened to him or he just decided to fucking quit. So basically we're now back to 5 players. And what's worse is it's around this time, like week 6 or 7, rosters are starting to be locked, which means you can't add new players. Like basically after this week, you can't add new players onto your team. So we're going into this match and basically this guy is just gone. I'm gone for a long time also because during the spring break. So they've been playing scrims and like practices with like 2 substitute players every single time, which isn't great, right? Because a lot of the times they change based on who's available and it's just like not great. So then come to our week 7 match, the player that we picked up to replace X, he that day could not play because he had like prior engagements. And basically we tried to reschedule the match and stuff, but the other team wouldn't like agree to a rescheduled date. So we're going into the match with 2, so I'm gonna I was be able to come back for the match, but we were going into the match with 2 substitute players, right? We go into the match, we play a pregame first, which is just like a practice before to get us warmed up. The pregame doesn't go very well because the other 2 players, like they're chill, but they're not as good as like our players that we had, right? And basically our player R, who is, as I said, our best player, and he is our best player, but he's the rager. Basically, he wanted to do a specific strat on the map that we're playing that week, where basically for it to work, the team has to play a lot more around them and like protecting them, for him to like really have a lot of impact.
Around who? Around the rager?
Around the rager, who's our best player. He wanted to play sniper, which usually isn't played, but on this map it makes sense. But you need to really protect the sniper, otherwise he's gonna get focused down. So basically, because we already had 2 substitutes, we just weren't cohesive enough and like coordinated enough to like really protect him, right? So basically, after our pregame, he rage quit.
Okay.
So this is like 30 minutes before our match. He's rage quit because he kind of beefed with one of our substitute players. He was like, why? He was kind of like passive aggressively like, why are you doing this or blah 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 blah. And the substitute guy kind of like clapped back. So they had a little bit of beef, and he just rage quit. So 30 minutes before our match, we don't know where he's gone because he's just left. So now we're about to have 3 substitute players. Half our team are not even going to be our team for our match. Luckily, like 5 minutes before the match, he comes back, okay? But basically, we play the match. We are down, it's 1st to 4, it's another cop map. We're down 0-3, we come back 2 rounds, and then we lose. So we were on a comeback, but then we lose. And basically, he like rage quits right afterwards again.
Of course.
Of course. But after that match, the damage is done because he was like beefing with that substitute, right? So later on, he tells our player, the player we brought in to replace player X, who is now kind of our team leader because our original team leader has just completely ghosted us. Player R told him, I don't want to play anymore. And I think part of the reason was like he feels like the teammates don't back him up. I don't know, he just had like team issues. Mm-hmm. And I think part of it is kind of in-game, maybe that's true, but also like when he was beefing with that substitute player, like the other 3 of us that were also there, that were on the team, like we didn't really support him because he was kind of being an asshole. And I guess he just didn't like really feel like supported, right? Even if it's like kind of unjustified, like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I feel like he just didn't feel like it was worth playing with people where, you know, they're not going to support him and stuff. So now we're actually permanently down 2 people now. Roster's locked as well.
Oh my God.
So we can't add new people. And basically the rest of us were like, is it worth playing the rest of the season with 2 permanent substitutes rotating in and out?
Okay.
And we're all like, it's not worth it. So then our team died. We didn't even manage to finish the season. So that was...
how old are... So all these people are high schoolers?
No. So player R, he's a high schooler. The TL guy, he's like the same age as me, the ghoster.
Okay.
The schizo troller guy, he is like 25.
Okay.
Or at least he said he was. And then most of the other people, there's like 1 or 2 other high schoolers, and then the others were like college students. So,
man.
that was really long, but I hope you see how chaotic and ridiculous the whole experience was.
The deep underbelly.
It's just, I'm just like, I don't think I ever want to do that again. Maybe it's just the set of players that I had where this all happened, but yeah. Like everything that could go wrong kind of went wrong in some sense or the other, where we couldn't find players. We had to play matches with a bunch of substitute. We had rage quitters. We had trollers, weird ass people. We had baiters. Then we had a ghoster who just completely left our team and didn't say anything.
I think it's because you're in the lowest tier, because some people aren't like as serious.
Could be, but could be. I feel like it's just it could be. I can't really say because I haven't played at like upper tiers, and I don't know about inner team drama, but Yeah,
Shit, man.
that was that.
You ever gonna try again?
I need at least like
TF2
at least a year of detox or something after this experience, because I mean I like two of the people I think are like really cool people. I like them, and I like playing with them too. But like everybody else had like something or other, like they were either like, even the players that didn't actually contribute anything to killing our team, like one of them was just omega annoying. Like I couldn't stand him at all. So I don't know, it was just a mixed bag of people all over the place. Yeah, that's competitive TF2. And if you remember last time, our team was literally dead last.
Yes, I remember.
This time, we didn't even make it to the end of the season. So. In fact, that team actually did better despite us being dead last, because we actually finished the season. Unbelievable.
They still play casual?